Underneath the bridge, Star Pass from the lake. When almost I trapped. I can't even do it with Dude, seriously? Hands down, my favorite part of the entire movie is the 2 times that song plays, just because of how emotional it feels.
No, notice that he said how it feels, not how he feels, because Robert Pattinson has one emotion, well, 2 emotions in this whole movie, like angry and
angrier. No, I was kidding.
No, just angry and just mopey.
Oh, dude. We'll get into it. There was
there were
the more I'm telling you, like there was so many funny parts that were unintentionally funny.
I was gonna say parts of it were unintentionally hilarious. Like you and I were just cracking up at random times because we're like,
no one else in the theater is laughing, and we're just like all giggling like schoolgirls.
And I'm not even talking about the times. I'm not even talking about the times we made jokes either. I
just noticed this.
So spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Like massive spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Sammy Sprinkler spoiler alarm.
I probably should have put that in the title. It's okay.
It's all right.
Tarpez sprung a leak.
But yeah, like honestly, my favorite had to have been when the guy shot him with the shotgun.
Oh,
like it's not supposed to be funny, but
how
just
flew back like 6 feet.
Which here's the thing, like it's accurate, but there was just something about it that was so hilarious.
It was like the Johnny Cage scene. This is where you fall down. Ah!
I mean, because realistically, that's what would happen. But I don't know why. It was just really funny.
That's some fucking tough ass armor. All the guns and the fucking Uzis and, well, I don't know if they were Uzis, but the machine guns that...
Automatic weapons.
That suit is beast.
Well, but keep in mind, look what the very large bullets did to the mayor when she got shot.
Well, the thing is, though, were they big bullets or were they just like 22s?
They were. Oh, they weren't 22s, dude.
I don't know.
Those were beasts. I don't know what they were, but a 22 in a casing would be about like yay long and much thinner, and it wouldn't have had that sharp point like that.
22.
Well,
in and out.
Well, no, a 22 would probably actually get stuck in somebody. It's not a very big round.
That's what I meant. Bullet. If it was a powerful enough weapon, it should be in and out. Just a small hole. Would it explode?
If you'd have a pretty decent sized exit wound with rounds that big. Which it's like we were talking afterwards, like maybe it just grazed her, but I don't know. I don't even think the scriptwriters know where she got shot, because at one point she's holding like her side.
You know what happened to her?
What?
You know what happened to the bullet?
What happened to the bullet?
Something in the way. Oh gosh.
Oh man. So where do we want to? Actually, you know.
Yeah. Start with your thing. Yeah. Start with your thing. He's going to talk about.
Thank you, TikTok. But if you visit, what is it? rataalada.com, it will go through a bunch of BS loading, and then it says click for reward, and you click it, and you get a message from the Riddler, but it's in his like script or whatever. But they have a partially decoded cipher online, and it's not hard to figure out because there are some letters in there that aren't decoded, but it's pretty easy. I actually had 5 letters that I decoded, and the message is as follows. You think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. No, it does. It says, you think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Every ending is a new beginning. Something is coming.
I'm coming.
And then, dude, Robert Pattinson looked like he was coming a few times when he got hit.
Dude.
Some of the other unintentionally hilarious moments.
I can't say I disliked his performance as Batman.
Oh, I thought it was terrible. I thought it was god fucking awful.
I didn't hate it.
Because here's why I say that. It was just Robert Pattinson wearing a Batman costume.
It didn't feel like a Batman. Remember, we've said this as soon as we left the theaters. It didn't feel like a Batman movie. It felt like literally he was just like a fucking cop going through it.
Yeah, that's the impression. And then there were several scenes where I'm like, am I watching Seven right now? Like even the way he gives himself up at the end, because like he let himself get caught. See this? I think my biggest problem. Yeah, I think this is my biggest problem with the movie is Batman doesn't actually do anything really.
No, it was actually. I mean, the entire premise of the movie had nothing to do with Batman. Technically, it had everything to do with his parents, because the Riddler was had it out because he was an orphan. He had it out for the Waynes because, I mean, they essentially, I mean, unintentionally ruined his life, I guess. I mean,
How?
well, I mean, yeah, it sucks he was in an orphanage, but like, I mean, you know,
Like there's a lot of this movie that just seems, and maybe it's justified, maybe not. A lot of it just seems to be people being like, well, they're rich, so fuck them.
yeah, and that's who was it? Yeah. It was Riddler when he was talking to him in the jail, and he was saying that like the Waynes lived in their, oh, poor Bruce, you know, when his parents died, but he's like, you know, we're all orphans and no one cares about us.
Well, see, the more I think about it, the more I get the vibe that this script was written by like a freshman political science student.
How do you get that?
Because, man, think about it. Like the entire movie is essentially being like, if you're rich, and at times they even said if you're white and rich, like you're bad. Like, fuck you. You don't like, never mind the fact that Bruce Wayne watched his parents die in front of him, which they don't even touch on in this movie.
Which they don't need to. There's been so many fucking movies about it, and
I disagree on one fundamental point because they're making an assumption, which you should never do when you're making a movie. I don't care what the subject matter is. You can do a quick flashback. It's a lot better than just saying, like, when your parents died. It's like, you cannot assume that everyone in the audience knows the story of Batman. Maybe, what if there were people who have never heard of Batman before and they got dragged by their boyfriend?
Batman has been running around the city for only 2 years in this movie.
Correct.
They made it known like that. So I'm assuming that this is a young Batman.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious because he also makes some pretty inexplicable mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm chalking up to being a younger Batman. Right. Which there's moments where everyone's stupid in this movie.
Right.
Like unnecessarily. Like Catwoman on a number of occasions makes some really stupid mistakes.
And honestly, they could have cast anyone other than her. I mean, she was like okay.
She wasn't bad, but I chalk that up. I chalk that up to how they wrote the character, though, because I guess the best way to describe this movie is that most of the time people are just there. It's like, oh, we're doing things, but you don't. A lot of times you don't really understand why. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot driving these people because it's like, oh, Selena Kyle wants to get revenge for her roommate / friend / kind of getting some lover vibes.
I completely forgot her name was Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Have you watched the series Gotham?
Not a lot of it. I lost interest after the first season.
Oh, dude.
I thought it was lame as fuck.
No, that's great. Like literally, you know, like how people say, "Oh, you got to get past the first season," and you know, and it's the same season after season after season, like Game of Thrones, in my opinion. No, Gotham was not that way. Now the 5th season, yeah, but yeah, it was better after the 2nd season because it's so fucking dark.
Yeah, but I'm not. This sounds really bad, but like my time's more valuable than that. Like I'm not gonna wait around for 2 seasons for shit to get okay.
Yeah.
Like for shit to get good. It's like Arrow was dynamite from episode 1.
You have failed this city.
I was hooked. I was hooked on Arrow from the first eepisode. I was hooked on. Well, I wasn't hooked on, but I was interested in the Flash after the first episode, but Gotham just never.
Well, I mean,
It never
that's
really.
that's. Yeah, no, those are DC as well. I was gonna say that's DC versus Marvel, but no, dude. Like the more I think about and just go over things in my head about what I witnessed, there was a lot of stuff they could have taken out that was like pointless, and just like stretched on and on and on. Like the movie should not have been 3 hours. If it had been a cool 2 hours, you might.
It would have been more tolerable. But here's the only way I'm not going to say it was too long because I never think a movie, well, okay, that's not true. A movie can be too long. But the issue with this movie was, well, no, this movie was too long for what it was trying to do. Because a lot of it was, I'm not even going to say it was unnecessary. It was just, it almost felt like filler. It felt like they were like, we're trying to get to 3 hours.
Well, they didn't even really get to 3 hours. Like runtime was only 2 hours and 47 minutes without credits.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was 3 hours. Oh, well, no, I guess you're right.
It was 3 hours. It was 3 hours. It was 2 hours and 57 minutes or something like that with the bullshit.
Now, what I find funny though is the fact that I saw you and other people were checking the time, especially towards the end of the movie.
Well, yeah, because I was like, this needs to be over. But like, there was a point in the movie I was gonna lean over and I was like, dude, there's still an hour left.
I did the math in my head at one point when it looked like it was gonna be wrapping up. I was like, oh shit, okay. And then like I looked at the time and I was like, what the fuck? There's still like another hour left, or at least another 45 minutes. And you know what? The same thing happened with Dune. Like, don't get me wrong, Dune is a good movie. But and this movie does the same thing. There's like 3 or 4 points where if they'd ended it right there, it would have been better. But then they just keep going.
I'm going to say something profound. Okay, between Pattinson, Bale, Keaton, all of them, all the previous Batmans. And I don't know if it was just the song.
You dare fucking say what I think you're gonna say.
No. When Batman was staring at the kid who had literally found his dad dead, and that song starts playing. That part gave me goosebumps. Like I could feel everything. It felt so fucking. Yeah. It felt so like, oh my gosh. Like, and I was like, I haven't had a Batman movie ever. Nah, I mean, except the I didn't get no goosebumps. I was just like,
you need to watch Under the Red Hood. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Batman movie
anime,
ever.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this tends to be the case with DC anyway. The animated movies are usually so much better.
Oh, of course, it's easier to make them. Cheaper.
Well, no, that's not the reason. I think the reason
and they can make them do amazing things. Easily.
That's not what I mean. I'm talking purely from a writing standpoint. But what I think this is the animated
they're actual fans.
Well, not only that, I think that they can take more risk because, like, take Green Lantern for example. There are 2 movies within the last 10 years or so where DC has gone over the origin story of Green Lantern. One is animated, and one was the Ryan Reynolds disaster. And the animated one is phenomenally better. If they'd done the same story, but with Ryan Reynolds, that movie would have been one of the greatest superhero movies ever.
Well, also the terrible CGI.
I didn't think it was terrible.
It was horrible.
I thought it looked pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah.
I think people were shitting on it for.
I didn't hate it at first, but then
I still don't hate the movie. I just know it could have been so much better
as the years progressed. Because when I first watched it, I was like, no, it's not bad. And then like as years progressed and I rewatched it, I was like, oh my god, that CGI is fucking terrible. I was like, how did I not notice this first time?
Well, I chalk that up to the fact that again,
that's like how you noticed Catwoman being CGI'd, and I didn't even.
And I'm not 100% sure about that. I think I'm right though, and what he's talking about was when Catwoman and Batman are fighting each other. There are a couple of moments usually when Selina's doing jump kicks or really super duper acrobatic stuff where it looks like she was CG animated in that scene. And I made the point, I'm like, look, there are working actresses in Hollywood that can do those stunts. Like, they can do them without wires. So just hire them.
It's just the name. They probably spent a decent amount of money just hiring her just because of who she is.
Well, but that also didn't make much sense to me because, like, I know who Zoe Kravitz is because I know who Zoe Kravitz is because I watched the oh god, and now I'm drawing a blank. The Divergent series.
Was that her in that?
Yeah, she was the other Dauntless. That was the other Dauntless girl that was running around with Tristan.
That was a good series.
I liked them.
Yeah, I didn't even know what the heck it was until
my wife's
mom was reading the books.
Oh, I haven't read them. I only saw the movies. But
well, I mean, then she was like, "Oh, I want to watch the movies," and then we went and watched the movies. I was like, "This is pretty cool."
It's not bad. I find it hilarious.
Who's that actor? I'm sorry to interrupt. Who's the girl actor in the main actor?
Oh, Shailene Woodley.
Yeah, you could have went with anybody. She's like literally the most like no emotion.
No, that would be Kristen Stewart, and
they're similar.
I was going
to say. That's funny, Kristen Stewart.
I was literally going to say
that. Do you know what I am?
They said the line in the fucking movie.
I wonder if that was like a direct like fuck you.
I don't know.
He said before he wishes he didn't do those movies. I was like, dude, you got paid.
That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie.
And that's me talking my ass. I feel like I heard that. I don't know if it's true.
I bet he wishes that it would kind of disappear, but I'll be blunt. Robert Pattinson will forever be the fucking glittery vampire boy.
Hey,
and I made the jokes. I made the joke sitting in the theater when she's like, why do you wear that mask? Are you super scarred or something? I'm like, no, because I glitter in the sunlight. But I thought he did. I thought it was the shits because I was going to describe it as this Batman is the Robert Pattinson of Batman, but it was actually fucking Robert Pattinson. So this Batman is the Kristen Stewart of all the Batman.
I wonder if they're going to do a multiverse with all these guys.
God, I hope not, because they're going to fail. They're going to fail. At this point, DC needs to just reset. Because they failed.
I mean, for one, they don't have any phase or anything like that. Like, you know, nothing is going in order or anything like that.
Well,
you know,
DC seems to be very good at doing standalone movies. But the second, because so the first Wonder Woman is very good.
The second one was garbage.
Oh, the second one is a dumpster fire of bullshit, nonsense, and just bad.
They filled it with too much woke.
The whole movie, and here's the main problem with Wonder Woman 1984 is they already established in the first one that she basically disappeared for 100 years, except they said in World War One. So what was that? 70 some odd years later, she's running around a shopping mall in full costume, and she's like, "Oh, but 100 years ago I disappeared." No, you fucking didn't. You're flying in jets and flying across the sky, and you were in the fucking... the only thing you didn't do was grab a Cinnabon and wave to the camera. And you're still using the same fucking name. And that movie was fucking long. That movie was almost 3 hours, and by the end of it, nothing has changed.
No rhyme, no reason.
Yeah, it's like nothing that happened in that movie carries any weight to the universe at large.
See, that's the difference between this movie and that movie. This one had a whole reason. And
some bitter
actor, the actor that got to play him, I was like confused. I was like, this is the Riddler? But then later on I was like, yeah, this is the Riddler. I don't know, dude. Like I was like, they need to stop casting hunky freaking star types. Like I mean, whether you want to call it or not, I know Jim Carrey was goofy, but he was the Riddler, and it's like, you know, the dude's not a bad looking guy. You know, he's like 6'4", you know, good, you know, decent looking guy. So it's like, but this guy is like a fucking goofball, and he looks like a nerd, and it's like, honestly, with the way he was doing things with the bombs and this and that, and I was like, that's better.
Well, So here's my problem with the Riddler in this movie.
It didn't even seem like the Riddler. It just seemed like a fucking pissed off guy.
Well, they were going for massive incel vibes, which is probably why the guys didn't actually know what the fuck they were doing when it came to guns and whatnot. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, exactly. He had inexperienced followers. Didn't know what they were doing.
So up until... So again, here's a major spoiler.
That's why the mayor didn't die.
Well, that's plot armor, my friend. As the critical drinker would say, good thing she was wearing her plot armor. There's a lot of plot armor in this movie, such as Batman not getting a shotgun blast to the face, which we'll get into later.
No, we're getting into it right now. He had this much fucking space to be shot, and the automatic weapons are like firing on him, and he doesn't get a ricochet at all to the cheek.
Okay, so that I'll suspend my disbelief for that, but what I will not do is believe that somebody would be stupid enough to have a shotgun and only load one shell in it, and then even if they were that
shoot
stupid,
him in the chest.
Well, no. I'll believe that. But when the guy's dangling down, why would you take that fucking long to open the gun, load your shell in, do it as slowly as possible, and then lower it down literally at the speed of snail? And then, like...
This right here is exactly why I started thinking back on it instead of just taking it for as what it was. I started thinking about it, and I was like, because dude has never killed anyone before. He didn't know what he was doing. He was scared, and then he's like, well, I mean, I'm already here. I guess I got to do this. And then he finally decides, but it took him too long, and then he ends up getting beat.
I don't buy that, because for one thing, he's like doing that evil, like,
well, yeah, of course, he's a follower.
Well, I know, but he ain't scared.
No, I didn't say he's scared. I said he's never killed anyone before. So the thing is, he's not.
Yeah, I just think it's plot armor.
Oh, guaranteed.
The script needs
obviously.
The script needs Batman to not die. So,
but the thing is, was his helmet, or not his helmet, but Batman's the top piece is not Kevlar.
No, and here's the thing. I thought
it was soft, and I'm like, how I could have sworn he was getting like.
So I had a criticism for the costume, but I was going to let it go because I thought it was something practical. And let me just go ahead and say, Robert Pattinson is not wearing the bat suit. The bat suit's wearing him. It's too big for him.
Literally, it's 6'2".
No. I'm not talking height. I'm talking just the whole thing. He doesn't.
He needed to bulk up, like
the suit's too big for him, and part of that is the cowl, because it does kind of get fatter on top. And I thought, oh well, it's a helmet, so like I let it go. But then he took it off, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? It's not even hard.
Yeah, it confused me.
Well, that's fucking stupid.
It looked hard.
Yeah, so I was gonna let it go, be like, well, that makes sense why he would have a helmet, you know. Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense why it would be a little bit thicker on the very top. And then he pulls it off. I gotta watch
it again just to make sure, because like I'm kind of like I don't know if I want to go back to the theater, but it's just like I don't want to sit there for 3 hours.
I would kind of be okay with them releasing, like, you know, usually everybody waits for the director's cut that's like 3 or 4 hours long. If they could release
a director's cut that's only 2 hours long.
If they could release like a Spark Notes cut, that would be great. Shit, where was I going?
Gordon's character was just like completely weird.
Very religious man, though. He says he says Jesus like 8 times.
Dude, remember when he's talking to him and he's all like, "What do you mean?"
What was up with that?
That was so fucking funny.
No, literally every scene where Gordon and Batman are in the same scene together, they're doing that. Gordon's doing that cop movie thing.
It looked like a fucking his head to South Park episode when the guy's like, "You want to go, bro?" Or yeah, what? No, yeah, something like that.
No, but literally every scene he's in, I noticed it and like I started to laugh at it, because every scene Gordon's just like, "What you talking about, Batman? What you talking about?"
I don't know if the dude was like trying to play it that way or if he was told to play it that way, but it's like,
Well,
he could tone it down.
given the rest of the performances, I'm willing to bet that it was direction.
I mean, they can't touch Gordon from the Bale series. I liked him. He was good.
Yeah, old Sirius Black was pretty good.
And then what the fuck was up with Alfred? Only in it for a little bit, and then boom.
And it was Andy Serkis who literally steals every scene he's in when he's in there with Robert Pattinson. Because it was literally like one step away from being like, "Shut up, Master Wayne. Nobody wants to hear you talk. Shut the fuck up."
Like, you whiny little brat. Shut the fuck up.
Fuck, I would have rather had Andy Serkis play Batman. At least he would have fit in the fucking suit.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I was literally reading something before this. I don't know if it's speculation or whatnot, but apparently Keanu Reeves is going to play Batman. And I'm like, we have a Batman. We've got 15 Batman.
We've got too many.
And I'm like, Keanu Reeves needs to go to the fucking MCU. Stay away from DC.
Now, I will say this, though.
Then he brings John Wick to the MCU.
I would enjoy watching a Batman multiverse movie. And what would be really interesting is if, now hear me out, DC, steal this, take my money. So there have been a lot of rumors that they want to do a Batman Beyond movie and have Michael Keaton play Bruce Wayne in that movie.
Play Old Man
Ryan.
Ryan.
Which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be interesting if somehow, like, they'd have to do the first Batman Beyond movie first, but then maybe for a sequel, like for a second or third movie, they could do the Batman multiverse movie. And you get all of them. You get all of them back. And we know it can happen because No Way Home did that shit for Spider-Man.
Yeah, and you can make money.
You'd already have Michael Keaton. Like, George Clooney wouldn't show up for a cameo.
Yeah, he would.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
like,
Batman,
yeah, come on,
dude.
he would.
Oh.
Hey, you can bring Chris O'Donnell's career back from the dead.
Yeah, speaking of, it's like I haven't seen him in anything.
We could get Arnold back as Mr. Freeze.
Oh, God.
It's almost like after the credits rolled, everyone's career suffered.
Dude, the after credit scene pissed me off, even because there wasn't one.
Dude,
Goodbye.
the bit with the Joker should have been the after credit sequence.
That was, if that's the Joker though, I'm like,
lame as fuck.
I'm like, you guys could have capitalized big.
They didn't even try.
If you would have fucking brought in Joaquin.
See, here's the thing. They could have even tested the waters, because you're right. Didn't have to see him. They
don't even know if Joaquin is fucking the Joker, though.
No, but I know. But what they could have done was just had the sound. Just have him record it. And then do the... That sounds more like Jared Leto's. That
was terrible. I didn't dislike the Joker from that series, but I'm just like, I don't feel like Jared Leto got a proper start. I think he's gonna make everyone proud as Morbius.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, especially. Well, no, so if you remember during the Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah.
The Joker scene in that, fantastic.
Weird.
So now I'm like, Jared Leto didn't suck. They just didn't let him do his thing.
They had 21 more minutes of Joker time, and they didn't put it in the movie.
And everyone loves Joker time.
Exactly. And Jared Leto was like, dude, like, they didn't even put my shit in the movie. It was like a fucking smash.
Which is why he went over to Marvel.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you guys.
I mean, that first movie, the Deadshot movie, it was just Deadshot.
It's all right. I mean,
it's because they had Will Smith. They're like, oh, it's Will Smith. We don't want that 30 seconds for Marge guy.
Well, but what's funny about Suicide Squad, the first one, is I even said, and like, I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people do, but even I said, I was like, why the fuck are they acting like superheroes?
Yeah. Like,
they weren't even acting like villains. Yeah, the Suicide Squad was a much more accurate feel.
Heinous.
Especially when they're doing that scene where they're sneaking into the camp, but it's actually the good guys, and they're just offing people left and right.
Yes, because like they're not afraid to murder people.
No, they're literally killers, all of them. I love that. They're like, you just slaughtered my whole camp. They're like, Oh.
Deadshot's like one of the greatest assassins.
Yeah, instead he's out there just being like, let's
Getting
go save the world.
Nah, he's getting jiggy with it though.
Yeah, he is.
Na 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 na. You had that CD.
Actually, I think it was my sister's, but yes, I had it. I had it in my possession. I had the ability to listen to it.
See, look, you had Deadshot in you all along. In you.
Sounds a little gay, but I'll take it.
So,
So why don't we talk about some of the, because I could go on about bad things.
What about Batmobile?
I
would rather a Batmobile be more like a car instead of like a. I did like the jet engine in it. That was pretty cool though.
Yeah, the Batmobile almost always has an engine like that, but I liked it. I thought it was the car chase scene was probably one of the high points of the movie.
The Penguin. Was he not a fucking creepy looking actor? Who the hell is that?
Yeah, Colin Farrell. I shit you not. I looked it up.
The Penguin was Colin Farrell.
Yep.
That fat guy with all the fucking shit
was Colin Farrell. Yep.
Was that a fat suit?
It had to have been.
Because that dude's not fat.
Yeah, I know. I looked it up twice.
Colin Farrell, as in fucking phone booth Colin Farrell.
As in Bullseye.
I never miss.
Bullseye.
There was a what movie was it? I think it was a Quentin Tarantino movie, and there was a guy who was like extremely accurate with shooting and whatnot, and he had sex with this girl, and he's like, "You're pregnant." She's like, "How?" He goes, "I never miss." I think it was in that movie. I can't remember.
I couldn't tell you.
But
So let's go over some of the good things. You mentioned the scene with the kid, which I liked.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the car chase scene. For the most part, I liked the fight scenes because they were fairly realistic. Although I think I know we're supposed to be talking about things we like, but I just thought of it.
Double punch was sick.
Yeah, but then at the same time,
that was like, oh, he's like pop pop every time, and he was hitting hard.
Yeah, but then what I say when they first reveal him, and he hits the dude like 8 times before he drops him. I think, what did I say? It was like, about time, pussy. Like, come on.
I mean, but the thing is, though, realistically, is someone going to go down after 2 punches, though?
If you don't hit like a fucking girl, yes.
I don't know, man.
If you clock somebody hard enough in the face twice, they're probably going to go down.
I mean, if you hit him in the right set area.
That's what I'm saying, but he wasn't blocking.
He's I don't think this is the same Batman we're used to. I think he was trained by Alfred, and he just I don't think he's
which I'm fine with.
I don't think he's League of Shadows or anything like that. Like or was it League of Shadows or what was the
League of Shadows.
Yeah, okay.
Which I'm fine with because in some iterations, Alfred Pennyworth was former British Special Forces, yeah. So that makes sense, but still, if Alfred taught him how to fight, he should know how to throw a punch.
I don't know. He seemed like he knew how to throw a punch. Maybe
I'm only talking about that one guy because for the most part in the movie,
he was kicking ass.
They were great. Yeah, he was kicking ass, but it was believable because like he was taking hits. It showed that he was taking, like, obviously he's got protection, but I mean, like the shotgun showed, if somebody shoots you with a shotgun that close, even if you're wearing Kevlar, it's going to knock your ass back.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, the fight scenes were really good.
What about the adrenaline scene? That was funny, but seriously though, I was just like, I felt it with him. I was like, and then he gets up and he's whooping on that dude, and then Gordon stops him, and then he's just like, hey, and he's like,
it was unintentionally hilarious.
Dude, there was so many unintentionally funny things in this movie, and I was not disappointed with that. I was like, this is nice, because I was like, it's such a fucking dark and brooding movie, and the fucking song they picked, the only song they have in the movie they picked is dark and brooding, and it was perfect for it. So I was like, all right. all right, all right, all right. Like that set the tone for me for the movie. And at first,
The,
I was not happy with the movie until that part, and then I was like, man, and then I just saw that kid, and everything clicked, and I was just like emotions overload, and I was like, oh, I feel it now. But then the flying suit.
that was another unintentionally funny moment.
The flying suit, dude. It literally looked like he had pockets of air on his suit, like a air bed, like a air mattress. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Not an air mattress, a fucking little floaty in the pool.
I'm not gonna hate on him too much for that because I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it realistic.
What are you gonna do? You can't just have him hold a cape and it work.
Well, it can. There are things you can use, but not a regular cape. It has to be because they did it in The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what they were trying to do. But then at the same time, it's Batman, so it's like they have contacts that can send a video feed, but he doesn't have a cape that'll fucking let him glide.
Yeah, what? And then I can't even remember what the gliding suit was. What was it? Just like
no, it was something.
A life-saving flotation device.
I mean, and then the landing was another part that was unintentionally hysterical.
Well, but the thing is, you gotta look when he got up there. He's like, oh, you could see it in his face. He'd never used that before. That was the first time. He got away from those guys from the first time using that suit. He had never used that. Like, you could tell. And the way he was inexperienced going by, and then he pulled the fucking chute to slow himself down. It was still
hilarious.
Which, in theory, I know he was just pulling the chute to slow himself down to save himself, but I feel like he could have landed on top of that truck if he would have just let go. But like I said, he's overcorrecting. He's a young Batman. He's only two years in. I mean, I don't know if he's 2 years in, but like he's known Gordon for 2 years.
Oh yeah, that's true. And this isn't so much a problem; it's more of an observation. But you have moments like that where it's pretty obvious that it's a less experienced Batman, but then he's still like this super perfect detective that sees shit that seasoned police detectives don't. It's inconsistent.
He did catch some stuff, and I was like, "How the fuck do you?" But the thing is, with what the Riddler said, man, and I felt this from the get-go. I was like, he's not Bruce Wayne. Like, he does not act like the Bruce Waynes that you see in other movies. Like, he literally did not care about being around people. He didn't care about keeping up a persona. He didn't care about shit. He literally was Batman.
Well, and I think they're hinting it because it's obvious they want to stretch this into a series, but I can't remember if it was, I want to say it was Batman the Animated Series. They do a flashback episode where it goes back to when he was just starting to be Batman, and Alfred pretty much says, it's like, Master Bruce, I get that this is what you're trying to do, but you have to keep up appearances to avoid suspicion. Mm-hmm. And I think that points to this being a less experienced Batman because Alfred's telling him, it's like, you have to at least pretend to be Bruce Wayne some of the time.
Well, in which Alfred received a package for Bruce Wayne from the Riddler, and it contained an explosive that was meant to kill Bruce Wayne. And then, which I'm confused though. I don't think the Riddler knew who Bruce Wayne. Well, I didn't know Riddler knew Bruce Wayne because what confused me because at first I was like, oh, he got the package blew the kid up. Well, blew up Alfred. It was supposed to be Batman, but then there was the thing to the Batman. I think he did that with all his murders.
Yeah.
So at first I'm like, does he know him? Does he know him? And then I'm just like, oh, he don't know him.
Well, that's what they wanted you to think, and it was a nice little bait and switch. But
even when he was talking to him in the prison, though, it seemed like
that's what I mean. That was the bait and switch because.
But here's the part. We did this together, and it's like you tried to kill Bruce Wayne. Gotcha, bitch. You don't know me. We're good.
Yeah, but here's the part that doesn't make sense. So the Riddler knows that he didn't kill Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So he just stops?
Well, he didn't stop. Remember, he said he failed. He said, I didn't get Bruce Wayne, but I'm going to get the city.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody like the Riddler kind of seems like they would not just say, oh, shucksy doodles, I didn't get him.
Well, I mean, do you remember not what happened when, he blew up the city and everything started flooding?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that because that's what I was gonna.
The tar pad sprung a leak. Oh shit.
That was what I was going to touch on, and then we got so throughout, I'd say 90% of the movie, the Riddler is basically trying to expose corruption.
Yeah.
And minus the whole murdering people, he's not really doing anything bad.
No, he was more of a vigilante in this sense. I mean,
so
anti-hero.
Why? So, but yeah, exactly. He's more of an anti-hero. He's kind of like a Punisher-esque.
Without
why did
the physical strength.
Yeah. So why did he blow up the seawall?
That was to like give everyone a taste of like he was like trying to make everyone as miserable as him when he was a kid, because remember he said he would wake up with rats gnawing on his fingers, and he was basically saying that, you know, with all the water everywhere and, you know, flooding and blah blah blah, there's gonna be rats everywhere. I vaguely remember something like that.
So I get, and again, this is, so why not just do that first? Like what I'm saying,
that wasn't his goal. That wasn't his goal. I think he wanted to kill Bruce Wayne, and then because he didn't know who Bruce Wayne and Batman were apparently. So I think he wanted to kill Bruce Wayne, and then in his crazy head, which he was insane. He is insane. He wanted Batman to join him.
Which wouldn't that have been interesting? But I guess before I go to the next point, I'll finish this one.
That'd be like everyone joining fucking Adrian from Watchmen after he destroyed everybody. If they found out that, you know, like he did a bad thing to, but I mean, I don't think he
except for Rorschach.
Do it.
Awesome scene,
dude. That movie was slept on.
Oh, big time. Well, and it's the fault of the marketing people, because I didn't see Watchmen when it first came out, because I was like, oh, it's just another comic book movie, except I don't know who the fuck these people are.
See, I didn't watch it when it first came out. I watched I
slept on it.
I got the fucking I got the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. It was on sale, and I was like, oh, I'll try this out, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, this is so good. Fucking comedian, like, fantastic.
Well, yeah, but so oh god, it was a while before I watched V for Vendetta, because I resisted V for Vendetta too. Then I watched it, and then so many people.
Fan of V for Vendetta.
Oh, I loved it. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, if you like V for Vendetta, you should watch Watchmen."
I didn't know that was Hugo for the longest time.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, all right.
And now I'm just like, Mr. Anderson. But so my only issue with this is it seems like the Riddler, for being such a really smart and clever guy, he seems intellectually inconsistent. Because at first he's like, oh, I'm going to bring truth to the masses and punish the wicked, but then I'm going to become a domestic terrorist and drown a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't jive. Now, I could see somebody like the Joker doing that, but I couldn't see the Joker fighting for truth.
See, this is why I like, you know, I wouldn't say he's not even an anti-hero. He's just is what he is. Like, he's a psychopath.
But that describes the Joker, not the Riddler.
I don't know, man. Like the Riddler, like, if you get these questions wrong, then shit happens.
Correct, but that's not random acts of violence. There's a cause and effect there. At no point could so to me,
bring him into the light.
So to me, the Joker is like Michael Myers. He's pure chaos. You know, it's just like he does whatever
the Riddler
he feels like doing.
Strategic chaos.
The Riddler is more like Jigsaw. Where it's like, yes, you can die if you play this game, but you can also get out of it.
Not
like, it's kind of, yeah, not necessarily, but with the Riddler, it's more intellectual. It's more about the mind and thinking it through.
Mm-hmm.
Because in every iteration of the Riddler, except maybe Jim Carrey, because that movie was just a steaming pile of what the fuck.
It was fun.
But the Riddler, even if he's trying to pull something off, he cares more about the puzzle than anything. That's his character. And wouldn't this have been interesting? I think if they'd done this, even Robert Pattinson couldn't ruin this movie. Wouldn't it have been interesting if, like, the Riddler's goal was to team up with the Batman? And he was asking him all these riddles basically to either test him or actually have the Batman lead him to these people.
See, that's the thing. In Gotham, Jim Gordon, the Riddler, and Penguin team up to save the city.
Okay, maybe I do need to watch it. That sounds very interesting.
Dude.
I'm sorry. I also
the Penguin actor is amazing.
Yeah, I agree because I liked him as the Penguin, but I will admit the first time I saw him, I was like, holy shit, it's Abernathy Darwin Dunlap. You didn't see Accepted, did you?
Mm-mm. The only thing I know him from is one episode of The Walking Dead, and he literally has, he or his girlfriend has a broken ankle, and they come across them.
It's his girlfriend,
and
I think.
They're vegetarians or something like that. Yeah, and
so
he got blonde hair in that movie or in that show.
The first people to die in a zombie apocalypse actually it's the vegans. It's like, I can't eat the honey, man, because like the bees and shit. It's like, okay, you can be zombie food. Well, you know who's not vegan? Fucking zombies.
No. But yeah.
Yeah. You can just see a vegan guy with his fucking beanie on his hand. He's like, meat is murder, bro.
Like, I can't believe how fast. I mean, they didn't really kill him fast, but like, they killed what's his name? Carbone. Falcone. God damn it, Car Falcone, or however you say his name. I can't remember.
Isn't it?
Carmine Falcone. Yeah. I could not remember his name for nothing.
So here's another issue.
Like, what?
Well, here's another issue with that character is like, why was Selina Kyle his kid? It didn't contribute anything to the plot whatsoever.
Because her mom worked at the place, and then he knew it was her. He knew it was his kid.
But doesn't matter. It didn't contribute to the plot at all.
No, it was
Falcone. Falcone had her girlfriend killed. That's what it was about.
Well, it wasn't her girlfriend. It was just her friend.
Well,
at first I thought it was a girlfriend.
That's the vibe I was getting. Not gonna lie, and like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, when they were both in the apartment, she's like half naked.
But here's the thing. This is what I think they did, because there was some overt wokeness in this movie.
One small thing I noticed, except for what you pointed out, which makes me think about that now, was talk about the white people in power. And
here's the thing. Okay, I'm not necessarily taking issue with the fact that they said the words white privilege in the movie. It's the fact that it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like she just kind of said it out of
nowhere.
Like,
in the movie was it anywhere. Like at first, I think I even like was like, I was like, cool. I was like, they're gonna leave all the bullshit out of the movie, and then they just had to throw it in.
This is why I noticed it, because at no point had they even acknowledged anyone's racial identity, but then out of nowhere she just says white privilege.
Mm-hmm. And even though she was trying to get her some white privilege, just saying.
Oh yeah, I did make that joke, didn't I?
Yeah. God, she was going for it too. She's like, "Oh, Batman."
But this is what I think they did. I literally think they fucked up, because I think in the original script, and I hope to have this question answered one day. I think in the original script that Selina and what was her name? Anakin.
It was Anakin. It was Anakin.
Yeah. I think Selina and Anakin were a couple, but then halfway through shooting, they realized, fuck, we need her to be into Batman.
Which made no sense, really, because they didn't have to have her be into Batman. There was no reason for her to be into him.
You kind of do, kind of don't.
It wouldn't added or taken away from the story.
I think it could have added something if they had gone full bore into it, but to me it seemed like a correction.
I think it was just
It's
a friend. Like, yeah, I think you're overthinking that one.
Nah, men and women can't be friends. Sorry.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, you really think that if Selena Kyle, well, maybe Batman, but Selena Kyle texts up Bruce Wayne and says, "Hey, Brucey, want to come over?" Like he wouldn't be like,
I don't know, man. He might be tired.
I was gonna say maybe Batman.
Yeah, he's gonna come as Batman and be like, I didn't have time to change.
He's like, I gotta keep the mask on.
No, see, he didn't sound like that.
Right there.
No, he was more like, so what do you mean? Yeah, okay.
Boy, I thought he was gonna come up behind him and be like, "What am I?"
That would have been
funny. Actually, you know what? When the guy was like, "What are you?" and when
I am.
No, when he said, "I'm vengeance," I thought he was literally gonna say, "He's like, you know what I am. Say it," and then he was just gonna be like, "Vampire."
No, you know what would have been really funny? I mean, this has nothing to do with either worlds, but like if he was just like, "Say my name," I'd be like, "It's White, fucking White, White privilege. That's his name."
he said, "You're the Batman." It's like, "You're goddamn right."
Oh god, that'd be amazing. You know, the thing is, I wish like movies would do references to even shows or anything like that, because like they can't get in trouble for that. They could just reference it, and that would be hilarious, man.
Kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Oh my god, dude, Batman has no sense of humor though. Have you ever noticed that in any movie?
Not true. Oh,
George.
There are some. I wasn't even talking about that.
Batman, not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I know. There are some times where Batman is just a smug, smart-ass motherfucker.
We're not talking about Adam West either.
I'm not either. I'm talking about Kevin Conroy.
Oh, that's different. I'm talking cinematic, live action.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
They're all brooding and.
Well, and they kind of have to be, because I mean that is Batman. I don't think a well-adjusted Bruce Wayne would don a bat costume and punch the fuck out of people.
And even the older fucking Batman, Ben Affleck, he wasn't level-headed. He was a fucking hothead.
No, and in fact, I liked. This is one of the reasons I like Ben Affleck as Batman, because he was playing that older Bruce Wayne that really fucking enjoyed what he was doing. Like had a bit of a sadistic edge to it. Like he was branding motherfuckers.
I did like out of all the Batman so far, I did like Ben Affleck's the best. Because
he's the only one that was a great Batman and a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, his Bruce Wayne was awesome.
Exactly. And his Batman was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And you know why? Because Affleck is a fan.
Yeah, well, he's also a large guy. Like he
put big on. I mean, you saw him shirtless in that movie. That motherfucker did some working out. Mm-hmm. Unlike Robert Pattinson.
He was asked to beef up a bit, and he said no. And it's like, dude, they should immediately canned you.
Well, and here's
I'm not mad at the movie. I'm gonna put that out there. I'm not mad at the movie.
Here's my beef about that. So, like, obviously, not everybody can get that jacked, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But Robert Pattinson was asked, "Hey, while you're in quarantine, can you please just keep working out? We'll send you some equipment. Can you just work out and maintain the physique so that when we start shooting again, we're ready to go?" And he said, "No, I don't want to do that because I want to promote body positivity."
Is that what he said?
It's like, motherfucker, you're playing Batman.
You have to be in top physical shape and be able to. I mean,
right.
A good fighter, like a strong fighter, typically doesn't have six-pack abs. They eat a good diet and they fucking hit like a goddamn train.
It depends, because Conor McGregor has six-pack abs. But I mean,
but he's also fucking 5'5" and.
He's. I think the most he weighed. I think the highest weight class he was in was like 140.
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to MMA, you have to be a certain weight class. You have to be a certain weight to enter a certain weight class. So if you need a certain weight and you're only 5'5", 5'6", you're gonna be skinny and you're gonna have abs.
Yeah, but to your point, like Cain Velasquez, or at least I don't know if he does now, but I've seen Cain Velasquez without abs. And I wouldn't fight that motherfucker for. Okay, I'd probably fight him for $1 million, but I would have no fucking dream of making it past the first round.
I can tell you how it goes. Ouch. Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
No, there'd only be one ow, and I probably wouldn't even finish it. Wake up in the fucking trainer's room with a dislocated jaw, be like, "What the fuck happened?
Who that? Who there?
And then
You got hit by the water boy.
And then they hand me $1,000. I'm like, well, they answered 3,000.
Got your job, dog.
They answered 3,000. Yeah, 3,000 for 3 minutes, and he knocked you out in 1 second.
So you're lucky you're getting that. I missed the part where that's my problem.
I really have like my problem. Ow.
Dude.
Can I get a ride to the hospital?
I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again because I feel like I was just like it was too long and there was certain parts and I feel like I missed some stuff.
I legitimately can't decide if I can't decide if I didn't like it or I was just indifferent because there were good things. It looked fantastic.
Oh, the look was amazing.
I didn't like Wayne Manor because it just looked like they weren't upkeeping it.
Well, did they actually have a Wayne Manor, or did he just have a fucking skyline?
See, I don't know. Building. They weren't clear on that, but wherever he was living looks like nobody was living there.
They made it seem like he just lived in a fucking big building in the center of the city. And
which made no sense because at one point
Wayne Manor's always been off.
It's outside of Gotham City proper.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatever. Maybe in this point it's Wayne apartment. I don't know.
True.
The Wayne condo, as it were. But overall, I think the movie looked really good. It had just the right amount of desaturating, but it still had color, so it didn't look like Zack Snyder.
The music score was really good.
I loved the music. It was nice and dark and edgy and powerful. Never before, not since Jaws, have we had an effective score that was that basic. Essentially 2 notes.
Da da da
da. I would give it. What did we say? You said in the theater. I think you said 6, I'd give it a 6. I give it a solid 6 out of 10.
After my initial cool down phase and going back and reminiscing on the movie, I say 7.
So I'm still at 6, but I'm intrigued because, and I will say this now, I wasn't a huge fan of Batman Begins. I was kind of indifferent about it. Less indifferent than this one, but I was kind of this, whatever. But loved The Dark Knight. So I'm intrigued. I'm not going to write Robert Pattinson off as Batman quite yet. It was good enough to keep me interested. Like if they do another movie with him, I'll go see it.
Well, if there's one thing that DC is bad at,
it's sequels.
It's characters. Like writing their characters. Who was it? Was it the writing that killed Green Lantern? Is that what everyone was pissy about?
I think that was just okay. So I think the Green Lantern movie had a lot of faults, not least of which being the script, which was kind of weak. Spent a lot for Green Lantern. It spent a lot of time on Earth, and then gave Hal Jordan a friend that he never ever had, like just some random dude that he hangs out with. It just didn't work. That's why I said so. If you're interested in seeing a good Green Lantern origin story movie, watch Green Lantern First Flight. If you have HBO Max, it should be on there.
Which by the way is a phenomenal app.
Oh, I love HBO Max. It was funny. I was thinking about getting rid of it a couple months ago, and then I found a ton of shit on
I
there.
kept adding stuff, and I was like,
And I know, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep HBO Max.
I think the
If any,
Wonder Years are on there. I love that show.
is that where it is now?
What would you do?
What'd you do with that rain attitude?
I think
Would you
it's on there.
stand up and walk out on me? Can't sing anymore because we'll get a copyright claim. And I'm sorry I sang out of key.
Something in the way. You know, the funny thing is, I didn't know that song was in the movie. I thought that I heard it on a preview. But
you fanboyed the fuck out when that came on.
That is one of my favorite songs ever, and because it's so stupid basic. And like, I'm not even a big fan of Nirvana. I never was. Like, they were okay.
Yeah,
like,
me neither. But it's a good song.
But that song is just hands down. That's one of their best. Like, that was a good song, and it's literally 2 chords, and it's drop D, so it's even easier to play. I know you don't know what that means, but
I'm assuming it means that it's easier to play because you just said so.
I mean, it's literally basically an A chord and.
An A chord, totally. Yeah, got it.
B, I don't know, something like that, whatever it is. Anyway, I enjoyed it, but it was just too fucking long.
It
made it not
long.
Enjoyable. Like it was like a balance issue, you know.
You know what it kind of was to me? It was like Birds of Prey, but without the forced comedy. It was Birds of Prey with unintentional. Don't. It's not good, but. It was essentially like it was a mobster movie where Batman was just there.
Wait, was Batman in Birds of Prey?
No, he's mentioned, but he's not in it.
Oh, okay.
But it was different Batman in that universe. That's Affleck's universe.
Affleck. Yeah. So the previews. When we got to 20, or where the world needs heroes.
Oh, yes.
So, Flash. Which
I think they're doing Flashpoint Paradox, because I heard they were doing that, that should be interesting.
I think The Flash is going to be a great movie because, for one, they better do a good job on that movie because the character, I wasn't necessarily sure about him, but I was like, I like him, you know, but, because I liked Barry Allen from The Flash on the CW show, and Stephen Amell. Do you remember the shit that was going on between everybody? He was like, if they don't choose Barry Allen from CW, he's like, I'm not going to watch it, and I'm going to boycott it. And I was like, he just wanted to get somebody in. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
No, I did not, but I will say Stephen Amell was carrying DC on his back for a few years.
Dude, he literally said if Arrow wants to come back, he'll do it again. And I was like, do it. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, 100%. Come on.
You can go 18 seasons like Supernatural. I don't care.
Get his ass in the DC cinematic universe. You did it with Matt Murdock. You have no excuse. You literally have no excuse. Get him in a movie. You know he can do it.
That was perfect.
Could you imagine at the end of a Batman movie?
Need a really good lawyer.
No, at the end of a Bat. Oh wait, I said they did it with David. That's Marvel, but anyway, like, come on, DC, get with it. Marvel's beating you again. But could you imagine at the end of like one of the Snyderverse movies, it just cuts to a criminal getting an arrow like in his collar, and then it just goes to black. Fuck yeah,
that would be great.
That would be awesome. Or even the arrow hits, and he's like, "You have failed."
Oh, dude, that right there, instantaneous come button.
kind of like when he was watching the video of Selena, and he's got his hands under the table, and I'm like, "Hey, hands on the table, there, Chief." Just like Selena.
It was fun. I liked it, but I had to pee like 3/4 of the way through, so I was like,
"Me too." It's like holding it the whole time because I kept
thinking the movie was I gotta pee.
I kept thinking the movie was going to end, and then I was thinking about going to pee, and then they did the bit where they caught the Riddler, and then Batman was talking to him, and he's like, And he's like, there's bombs. And he's like, oh no. And I'm like, fuck. I can't miss any of this shit.
Where are they? Okay. No, he did not do an annoying voice the entire time as Batman or Bruce Wayne. He did his voice.
I think his Batman voice was a little different, but it wasn't over the top like, I'm not wearing hockey pants.
What was Christian Bale thinking?
You know what? I'm not going to hate on it too much because, I mean, I get what he was trying to do. It makes sense if you're a superhero. You don't want to sound like your secret identity. I just think it didn't work. And that's okay.
I mean, he was trying to sound scary, and it didn't sound scary. And it's like, if you're not scared, then poof, you punch the fish. What the fuck?
Oh, there's this movie. You just reminded me. There's this movie called Boone the Bounty Hunter. And it's a comedy, so it makes... Oh, God, I love it. It's so funny. There's a scene where, obviously, he's a bounty hunter, and he tackles this guy, and he punches him, and he's like, where's Joey? And he's like, he's up the stairs. And then he punches him again, and he goes, which way are the stairs? Like, that movie, like, it's a...
I can't pull over anymore!
It's just so great, because he's like, where's Joey? He's up the stairs. Which way are the stairs? And he's not yelling. He's like being super cool about it. Because the premise is that he's like basically like a dog, the bounty hunter. He has a TV show. And then somehow, some way, he gets disgraced and he has to get his name back. Which way are the stairs?
The big bad dog. I definitely recommend going and seeing it.
Go and see it.
It's long as shit. But
so don't get the large drink and pee beforehand. Listen,
if you have to pee within the first hour of the movie, because I'll tell you what, there's plenty of time. There are certain times, like if there's any action, don't leave during that. But if they start talking, you're not missing anything important.
I do almost. It does kind of. I don't know how I feel about this because we mentioned him being essentially bulletproof. I don't know if I liked that or didn't like that because on the one hand, it seems like a cop-out. But then on the other hand, when you live in a world today where you have guns that have just a stupid rate of fire, it does kind of make sense. Like Batman, like a dude wearing just a rubber bat suit wouldn't last 10 minutes out in the real world.
Pop. Oh, Batman's dead today.
Yeah. It's like Masked Man dressed as Batman killed in an alley.
Yeah. Mothman got his cape caught in a rotating and got gunned down by fire. Something like that. I think it was Mothman.
Something to that effect. Although, fun Easter egg. Speaking of Batman and Watchmen, in the opening montage where it's showing, like, going through the history of superheroes, did you notice the scene where it flashes by, and I think it's actually a newspaper clipping, where the original Night Owl saves Thomas and Martha Wayne?
Well, because it was an alternate in 1985.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's a cool little Easter egg. I think so. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, alternate in 1985. That's right.
No, that's when Watchmen is set, but the newspaper clipping was...
That's hilarious.
But it actually names Thomas and Martha Wayne.
I didn't know.
So it's like... So Batman doesn't exist in this universe because the Waynes never got...
Yeah, but the thing is, though, apparently if Thomas in other universes, when Thomas was saved or something happened to Bruce, he becomes Batman.
That's going to happen in Flashpoint Paradox.
And apparently he's not a
punch puller. He don't give a fuck. He's shooting motherfuckers out there.
I mean, if your kid got... Because Bruce Wayne got killed, right? Yeah, so
yeah, in that universe...
Killed, imagine how you'd be.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense. I like that. They did an animated Flashpoint Paradox, which is really, really good. And I don't know if I want to mention this for spoilers, but so basically the premise is that, for those of you who don't know, the Flash's father is found guilty of murdering his mother, but it wasn't actually the Flash's dad. It was Professor Zoom or Reverse Flash or whatever iteration that actually did it. But basically, so if you don't want spoilers for Flashpoint Paradox, fast forward for like a couple minutes.
It
essentially,
might not be similar.
It might not be, but it probably will be. Because what ends up happening is he ends up in an alternate timeline, but then he figures out, because what happens is he tries to go back to save his mom, and that creates the alternate universe where Thomas Wayne is Batman instead. And he basically figures out that if his mom doesn't die, he doesn't become the Flash. And there's something about him becoming Flash that sets a bunch of other shit in motion. It's a butterfly effect. So the Flash has to go back and murder his own mother.
I thought he just lets.
In some versions he does, but I shouldn't say he murders his mother, but he has to let his mother get murdered. Oh. But there's one version, and I can't remember which one it is. It might not have been the animated version, but I've seen it where basically he goes back to when he went back and stopped Zoom from killing his mom, and then they disappear and his mom's still alive, so he has to basically go kill her.
That sucks.
Which is fucking just awful.
Sorry, Mom! That's why you just run around her real fast with shred her to bits. And
I think that's what he did.
And she's just like,
in that
she's unraveling. Hit her with the adrenaline. That was fucking great though. At first I was like laughing my ass off, and then he got up, and I was like, man, why aren't you getting up quicker? You know, the thing is, I just started thinking about that. I was like, the reason he wasn't like super like fast and whatnot, because that shit was fucking heavy what he was wearing. So you got to think, when he was hitting, you know, that first guy that you're talking about, it's like,
maybe that was it.
Maybe because he wasn't able to throw full power because the shit's too heavy. But the thing is, though, if you're able to get moving,
maybe. Well, and you know what? That makes sense, because that would explain his like RoboCop entrance.
And I would, you know, what would make it more sense is to have like metal sheathing on the outside of his knuckles. You know, because it seemed like he was just wearing gloves. If he had metal sheathing, how much damage he could fuck people up with, and he wouldn't have to worry about hitting them twice or three times. It'd just be like, tink. But I don't think he's trying to kill people. So.
True, not in this. He ain't Thomas Wayne.
Not yet, at least.
Thomas Wayne would have fucking Wolverine claws and being like, "Fuck you."
He's sitting there having a drink at the bar, and fucking Dr. Xavier pulls up, and he's like, "Fuck off."
Fuck off.
That was great. That was a great scene.
Oh,
fuck off.
Yeah, and oh man, Multiverse of Madness is going to be awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. That's soon, right? April? May?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe?
Shit, I don't know. And there are rumors that Mr. Garfield will be in that movie as well.
Actually, he said.
I know. He said he wasn't in No Way Home.
Yeah, I know, right? He was convincing too, because that motherfucker, like.
I did. I saw his interview and I was like, oh, now I'm kind of worried.
We both were shitty at first. We're like, man, if they don't make appearances in this, we're gonna be pissed off. And then when they came up, we're like, oh!
Honestly, by the time I saw that they had Norman Osborn in there, I'm like, they have to.
I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
Honestly,
line.
So the way they advertised that movie too was brilliant, because they gave us Doc Ock in the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh shit, we might actually have. And then they gave you the Goblin laugh at the end of another trailer. Hello, Peter. And then they gave you the Goblin laugh at the end of the next one. And you're like, oh, maybe.
Fun fact: Doc Ock, or the actor who played Doc Ock in the second Spider-Man, you know, he was bald at the time and wore a wig.
No, I did not know that. Although that kind of makes sense.
The funky fucking haircut, did it not make sense? Yeah. And then the hair he had in this movie was his. Because he had a chili bowl cut.
Well, Doc Ock usually does, but
yeah, it was terrible.
Well, buddy, you got anything else to add?
No, I think it was a very watchable movie.
It was a touch long, but
not a touch long. It was touch.
Okay,
long.
It was a little. Well, okay, and then some of the overt wokeness is kind of, but it's not to the point where it takes it. No, it doesn't ruin the movie. It didn't
ruin the movie at all.
There's some kind of eye roll moments, but what did I say about the mayoral candidate? I'm like, oh, you can tell she's a fucking Democrat.
Oh,
because it's like we have this huge charity fund. She's like, that's not enough. We need more.
See, I didn't catch what she said. I was listening to you.
Well, because what did I say to him? When she's trying to like keep everybody calm and nobody's listening to her, I'm like, oh, it's the female Joe Biden.
And then she walks out and it was like,
And then she
hey, boom! And the dude was literally trying to tell her, don't fucking go out there.
That's how you know she's Democrat.
Don't
Because the
listen.
police chief literally says to her face, is like, listen, we need to get you out of here because someone's trying to kill you. No, I don't go out on stage. And they'd be surprised.
That's the problem with you, cowards.
Don't mansplain me, Commissioner.
Hey, I tell you what right now, that bitch ain't gonna fucking question him anymore.
Yes, she will.
Well, the thing is, the funny thing is...
She was like, you were only right one time, Gordon.
He was black, she was black.
One time.
It was okay.
That has nothing to do with it.
Hey, but
it's the fact that she's a fucking Democrat.
I tell you what, though, man. He was a white black man.
Oh, God.
What are you talking about? Hey. Nah. I think they did all right with him. Just little over the top acting.
Yeah, he did get a little bendy face cop.
But the thing is, I'm like, I didn't really notice. You said you noticed that in other parts. I didn't notice that in.
It's in every scene that they're talking to each other.
Other than the scene where they're like, he's like, all right, you got to punch him in the face. He's like, remember when he's like, you could have pulled your punch. He's like, I did.
Oh, when they were talking to the penguin, he's getting all up in the penguin's face. He's like, did you think so and so would know that you were the mole?
Well, I did notice him do that, but I didn't notice the head cock. Maybe that's just the way that dude talks. I've never seen him in anything.
He was in Casino Royale with Daniel Craig.
Never seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of like you never seen all of Gotham, Really?
I watched Gotham. I was just like, no, dude. Casino Royale is phenomenal. It's very good.
It's very good indeed. Well, I think I'm good. So you want to lead us out, man?
I will, and we're gonna start doing some. I'll talk to you about this later because I've decided this now. We're gonna start doing official sponsorships, and this is legit because we'll fill you in on details later. But today's podcast is brought to you by our BAT Man T-shirt. For those of you who don't know, this is a crypto basic attention token, or BAT. So, in honor of going to see the Batman, I wore the Batman T-shirt. Big fans of the BAT token, and you can get free BAT tokens by downloading and just browsing the internet on Brave browser. Which this isn't really a sponsor because we don't get paid by them because they stopped their referral program like bitches. But we do sell this shirt.
We use their browser and we do get crypto.
100%. Yeah, we get free crypto and then we use it to buy other crypto that's worth more money. Although BAT's been steadily going up, it kind of fluctuates, but
yeah, everything's in a downward spiral right now. But it'll come back.
For real. So the official sponsor of this episode is our Bat Fan shirt, as it's known in our official merchandise store, which you can see in the link below. And you can find this and all of our other great T-shirts and merchandise apparel, including our Kiss the Ass T-shirt, which is a reference to AOC's Tax the Rich dress.
Stay there.
So you stay in the cave, which you can help AOC in her crusade by buying a T-shirt, making us millionaires, and taxing our income. So join the fight and tax. Yeah, exactly. Right there. So join the fight, join the crusade, and tax 2 more rich people. But we have to get rich first before you can tax us.
Because we are not rich.
You have to do your part.
Make us pay our fair share, please.
Yeah, make us taxable. Well, anyway, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Average Intelligence Podcast. As always, if you missed the live stream, you can always check out this and all of our past episodes, as well as a ton of clips on the YouTube channel, to which you should, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell because it helps with the algorithm. Definitely not a leak in our likes because we ain't got enough. Totally singing off beat, but I don't care. It's like a slam poetry reading. Nothing is wrong. It's all art, man. But if you prefer your podcasts, keep going. But if you prefer your podcasts in audio format, there is an option for you. Because you can also listen to the crisp, cool, soothing sounds of our voices talking about various things on our audio streaming platforms, which include, but are not limited to, Spotify, Amazon Music, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts.
You totally going like a all right.
All right.
Like heading down, going on and on. All right, people, that is another one.
Like the video.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well,
Goodbye.
I think that's it.
Bye.
I think that's it. Watch the Batman.
Goodbye.